Does this have to do with the spherical understanding of reality that you've been accused of talking about?
Yes, this is a theory that is recently coming back to my attention, and it's a very nice theory because it first emerged in the 19th century, when there were two competing paradigms for understanding the nature of matter. There was the atomic theory that wanted to divide everything into smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller particles.
Right.
And there was the vortex theory that said, no, matter isn't made up of tiny little particles. Matter is made up of energy in motion.
Yes.
And you know how a wheel, when it spins faster and faster, it achieves stability?
Yes.
Well, the theory goes is that when energy moves in a vortex pattern, for example, imagine a spherical contra-rotating vortex, it achieves stability and it achieves form without any need for there to be tiny little particles inherent within it. So this view of reality being made up of energy moving in vortex patterns, I think is a paradigm that is reappearing in quantum physics, especially in string theory, where they're realizing that they're never going to find these tiny little particles.
Right, it's infinitely small.
It's energy in motion that we need to be looking at. Now, just for a moment, one of the beauties of thinking of all physical bodies as spherical vortices is that we get away from this idea that objects have a boundary, a limit. If objects are energy in motion, it's much easier for us to understand that the energy can extend outwards.
Right.
And that in fact, every spherical vortex that makes up every living thing has an energy field which generates time and space. So time and space are not external qualities between things, they are emergent fields generated from things.
Right.
So for example, a galaxy generates time and space, and in relationship to an adjacent galaxy, which is also generating its own time and space, conventional science says there's this vast empty distance.
Where there's no time and space.
Which science says is a vast, we cannot possibly traverse it, in a spaceship. Well, of course you can't. But because it is an emergent field, and you're absolutely right, between those galaxies, there is no time. There is no space, because they are an emergent property of the spherical vortices, in this case a galaxy, that we're talking about.
And then there's an interaction between vortices and vortices, between vortexes and vortexes.
That's right.
And that interaction then must create a third thing, a Vesica Pisces type understanding with the intersection.
You are really hot there. You're getting close to an understanding of the primary nature of creation. When the two vortices of energy and matter meet, they create a third spherical vortex, which is sensitive to incoming energies. And if you think about, say, the union of a man and a woman in love to create a child, what they're creating there is a spherical vortex of which the sperm and the egg are only the external manifestation. What they're doing is creating an energy form which is sensitive to the galactic influences at that moment and brings them in. And this is what science calls the double helix, but it's actually an energy form which brings in the new life, the new cosmic being.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So that double helix is really a symptom of the spherical vortices of the galaxy itself.
That's correct.
It exists in relationship to that larger being, that we are small vortexes inside that.
That's right. And what we're learning to do now with the landscape temples is attune to new energetic imprints and bring them in to the temples of Earth, so that a greater resonance is established within ourselves.
Is it because we are now energetically going to another level within, let's say, chaos theory, where the systems break down and reform at a higher pattern of complexity?
That's right.
That's what's happening right now. We're breaking down and reforming to a higher level.
That's what we're heading toward.
And we're bringing in new patterns.
That's right. It's quite a time.
Very exciting stuff. We'll talk more at some later date as this work evolves and as people kind of start to grasp these ideas. When I start to digest it, it's a lot, because it's not just sacred geometry. People think about triangles and squares. This is far vaster, far more connected to energy and
it's hot.
consciousness.
It's a living thing. I mean, sacred geometry is a great sex,
It's great. If people want to get in touch with you, tell people how they can reach you.
The best thing to do is just put my name on the internet. Just go to your search engine, put my name.
Nicholas Mann. Is that R-Man?
That's right, Nicholas Mann, and you'll find my books and what I'm up to, my lecture programs and so on.
Nicholas will be speaking around the country in England, and he's also the author recently of The Energetic Secrets of Glastonbury Tour, and he's coming out with a new book called Sedona
Sacred Earth.
Sedona Sacred Earth, and he's working on a new book about Washington, D.C. and the sacred geometry that's created in Washington, D.C. And New York City, Manhattan was created with sacred geometry. Did you know?
Was it really?
Well, the streets, the grids, the east-west streets were connected to the setting sun of the summer solstice and the rising sun of the winter solstice to give you the greatest amount of light. So the whole grid of Manhattan is created on sacred geometry of the Earth-Sun relationship.
So there's a heavenly resonance established there, and this is good.
Yeah, and I would think a lot of the ancient cities have been as well. And thank you for your work. Very exciting.
Oh, you're welcome.
Very exciting. Thank you so much. This is Alan Steinfeld for New Realities, and I hope you tune into other programs on